Dr. Velther adjusted his scanning equipment for the third time that morning. His 4 arms moved with practiced precision across the control panel of Medical Station Theta-7. The station orbited peacefully above a neutral trade world, and today it would host something extraordinary. Humans were coming. The Crithian doctor had spent 2 centuries studying alien biology. He knew the weaknesses of 3,000 species, their allergies, their toxin limits, their breaking points. His blue-scaled skin reflected the sterile white lights of the examination bay. Everything was ready. A message appeared on his screen. The human shuttle had docked. Velther's chest tightened with professional excitement. Humans were the newest species to request membership in the Galactic Coalition. Nobody knew much about them yet. Their homeworld, Earth, was listed as a Class 7 environment in the database. That meant moderately dangerous. Not the worst, but not pleasant either. The door slid open with a soft hiss. 3 humans walked into his medical bay. They looked surprisingly fragile. Velther had seen the images, of course, but seeing them in person was different. They had only 2 arms. Their skin had no scales, no protective plating, just a thin layer of some flexible covering. One had darker skin, another lighter, the third somewhere between. All 3 had hair on their heads in different dark shades. The tallest one stepped forward. She wore a dark blue uniform with badges on the shoulders. Her movements were confident and smooth. Double quote, Dr. Velther? I'm Commander Jiwon Park. This is our chief diplomat Hyunwoo Kim, and our medical liaison Doyeon Lee. Her voice came through the translator clearly. Velther bowed his head in the traditional Crithian greeting. Welcome to Medical Station Theta-7. Please, do not be concerned by these procedures. The Coalition requires biological scans for all new species. It helps us prepare proper medical care should you need it. We understand completely, Jiwon said. She smiled, showing her teeth. Velther had read that this was a friendly gesture for humans, though it looked vaguely threatening. Where do you want us? Velther gestured to 3 examination platforms. The humans climbed onto them without hesitation. Doyeon, the medical liaison, looked around the bay with obvious interest. His eyes tracked the various pieces of equipment. This won't hurt at all, Velther assured them. He activated the scanners. Soft blue light washed over the first human, Commander Jiwon. The data began flowing onto his screens. Velther watched the numbers appear. Heart rate, blood composition, cellular structure, neurological activity, digestive contents, everything the scanners could detect from a non-invasive sweep. Then the first warning appeared. Red text flashed across his primary monitor. Toxic substance detected. Stimulant compound at lethal concentration. Velther's inner eyelids flickered in surprise. He checked the readings again. The substance was identified as caffeine. According to his database, caffeine was a powerful nervous system stimulant. The concentration in Jiwon's blood would cause immediate cardiac arrest in most species. Even the tolerant ones would experience dangerous arrhythmia, but Jiwon sat calmly on the examination platform, breathing normally. Her heart rate was steady at what appeared to be her baseline. Is something wrong? Jiwon asked, noticing his hesitation. The scanner has detected a substance in your bloodstream, Velther said carefully. Caffeine. The levels are quite high. Do you feel unwell? Heart palpitations? Tremors? Jiwon laughed. The sound was light and pleasant. Oh, that. I had coffee before we left the shuttle. 2 cups. I needed to wake up properly before this meeting. Velther stared at her. You consumed this deliberately? Of course. Most humans drink coffee. Some drink tea instead? Same basic thing. She tilted her head. Is that a problem? Before Velther could answer, another warning appeared on Hyunwoo's scan. This one showed recent digestive intake. The substances included something called capsaicin at concentrations that should have destroyed the lining of his digestive tract. Capsaicin was classified as a chemical weapon by 17 different species. Mr. Kim, Velther said slowly, what did you eat before coming here? Hyunwoo looked slightly embarrassed. I had some instant noodles from our ship's supplies. The spicy kind. I know I probably should have eaten something more formal, but I was hungry, and those are quick. The spicy kind, Valther repeated. His translator had to be malfunctioning. You ate something that causes pain intentionally? Well, yes. It tastes good? Adds flavor. Yunwu shrugged. Is that unusual? Doyan, the third human, spoke up. Dr. Valther, I should mention I have a mild headache. Do you have anything like ibuprofen? Or acetaminophen? Either would work. Valther quickly searched his database for both substances. His scales paled to a lighter blue when he read the results. Both compounds were listed as dangerous blood-thinning agents. They could cause internal bleeding and organ failure. The dosages humans apparently used would hospitalize most species for weeks. These substances you request, Valther said carefully. They are quite dangerous. Perhaps we should run the scans again. My equipment may be faulty. Your equipment looks fine to me, Doyan said. He was still looking around with professional interest. What model scanner is this? The resolution must be impressive. Valther ran the scans a second time. Then a third time. The results were identical. These humans had toxic levels of multiple substances in their systems. They were consuming poisons deliberately. And they appeared completely healthy. This was impossible. Valther had examined thousands of patients from hundreds of species. He understood biology. He understood toxicology. These readings defied everything he knew. Commander Park, he said finally, I need to contact my superior. This situation is unprecedented. Take your time, Jiwan said pleasantly. Though I am curious about something. You mentioned standard procedures for new species. What usually comes next? A basic supplemental injection, Valther explained. Simple vitamins and minerals. It helps new species adjust to station life. Different atmospheres, different light cycles, these things can stress the body. Sounds reasonable, Jiwan said. Valther prepared the injection while his message to the station coordinator sent. The injection was the simplest medicine in his arsenal. Just nutrients and a mild stimulant to help with adjustment. He had given this injection to thousands of patients without a single adverse reaction. He looked at the dosage information. Standard amount. 50 grams of various compounds. The stimulant content alone would be barely noticeable to most species. Just enough to keep them alert during the adjustment period. But if humans reacted to toxins the way his scans suggested, this injection might kill them. Or it might do nothing at all. He had no way to predict. Valther held the injection device in one hand. He looked at Commander Jiwan, who waited patiently. She seemed so fragile, so soft. But his scanner said she was full of poisons that would kill him in minutes. What kind of species was this? His medical oath was clear. Do no harm. But was giving her the injection harm? Or was refusing to treat her the real harm? Commander, Valther said slowly, this injection contains a mild stimulant. Given your reaction to caffeine, I'm concerned about the dosage. Jiwan looked interested. How much stimulant are we talking about? Valther checked the numbers again. The equivalent of approximately 50 grams of various compounds. The stimulant portion is about 1/10 of that. To his complete shock, Jiwan started laughing. Not nervous laughter, but genuine amusement. Doctor, she said, still smiling, that's less than my morning coffee. Valther stared at Commander Jiwan for a long moment. His translator must have made an error. Surely she did not just compare a medical stimulant to a beverage. Your morning coffee, he repeated carefully. You drink something with this much stimulant every morning? Usually more, Jiwan admitted. 2 large cups. Sometimes 3 if it's been a rough night. Doyan pulled out a small portable terminal from his uniform pocket. His fingers moved across the screen with practiced ease. Here, let me show you our nutritional data. It might help explain things. He held the screen where Valther could see it. The doctor's eyes widened as he read the information. Humans consumed caffeine regularly, often multiple times per day. The average human intake was far beyond what his injection contained. Some humans consumed even more, apparently with no ill effects. This cannot be correct, Velther said. These concentrations would cause system failure in any species I have studied. Well, not in us, Yunwu said cheerfully. He had been quiet until now, but seemed eager to join the conversation. Coffee is pretty normal on Earth. Most adults drink it. Some people prefer tea, which has similar compounds. A few drink energy drinks, which have even more. Energy drinks? Velther felt his head starting to hurt. That was unusual. Prithians rarely got headaches. Beverages with very high caffeine content, Doyon explained. He was clearly in his element now, discussing medical topics. They also contain other stimulants. Taurine B vitamins, sometimes guarana. People drink them when they need to stay awake for long periods. Velther's communication panel beeped. His superior, medical coordinator Zelmara, appeared on the screen. She was older than Velther, her blue scales faded to almost white with age. Her expression showed concern. Velther, your message about the humans was quite alarming. Are they showing signs of poisoning? No, Coordinator. That is the problem. They show no signs at all. They claim these substances are normal for their species. Zelmara's inner eyelids flickered rapidly, a sign of extreme surprise. That should be impossible. Send me the scan data? I want to see this for myself. Velther transferred the files. He watched Zelmara's face as she reviewed them. Her scales seemed to pale even more. Dr. Velther, she said slowly, with your permission, I would like to run additional tests. I need to verify this information personally. Of course, Coordinator. I will be there in 5 minutes. The screen went dark. Guiwan raised an eyebrow, another human expression that Velther was learning. Is there a problem? We're happy to cooperate with more tests if needed. The Coordinator is very thorough, Velther said. She wants to confirm my findings. This is standard procedure for unusual cases. Are we unusual? Hyunwoo asked, grinning. Velther was fairly certain that expression indicated amusement rather than aggression. Extremely, Velther admitted. Zelmara arrived quickly, bringing additional scanning equipment with her. She was accompanied by 2 assistants who set up the new machines with efficient movements. The Coordinator approached the humans and performed the traditional Krithian bow. I apologize for the delay. I am Medical Coordinator Zelmara. I hope you understand that we must be careful with new species. Your safety is our priority. We appreciate your caution, Jawan said politely. The new scans began. These were more detailed than Velther's initial examination. They would show cellular composition, genetic markers, metabolic processes, and tolerance levels for various substances. The results came quickly. Zelmara read them in silence. Velther watched her scales shift through several shades of blue, indicating a range of emotions from surprise to confusion to something approaching fear. They consume ethanol recreationally, Zelmara said quietly. The scans show evidence of past exposure, fully healed. Alcohol, yes, Doyon confirmed. Beer, wine, spirits. Not everyone drinks it, but it's common in most human cultures. Ethanol is a solvent, Velther said. It destroys cellular structure. We use it for sterilization. It does that to us too if we drink too much, Yunwoo said. That's why people get drunk. The liver processes it, breaks it down. Usually takes a few hours depending on how much you drink. Zelmara pointed at another section of the data. This compound, theobromine, you have consumed this recently. Chocolate, Yunwoo said immediately. I had a candy bar yesterday. Chocolate is made from cacao beans. It contains theobromine naturally. Theobromine is lethal to most carbon-based life forms, Zelmara said. Her voice was faint. We use it as pest control. It's toxic to some Earth animals too, Doi added helpfully. Dogs and cats can't eat chocolate. It makes them very sick. But humans process it without problems. Velther pulled up more of the scan data. Each line revealed something new and alarming. The humans ate foods with extreme pH ranges, from highly acidic fruits to alkaline vegetables. They consume trace amounts of heavy metals without chelation therapy. Their bodies process compounds that would require hazmat protocols for other species. How is this possible? Velther asked. What kind of evolutionary pressure creates this level of tolerance? Doyon smiled. Earth is what we call a death world, Dr. Velther. Life there is incredibly competitive. Humans evolved as persistence hunters on a planet where almost everything was trying to kill us or each other. We had to be able to eat almost anything to survive. Your world tried to kill you, Zelmara said slowly, so you became unkillable. Not unkillable, Jiwan corrected. Just hard to kill with chemicals. We have plenty of other weaknesses. A soft chime indicated someone was requesting entry to the medical bay. Velther checked the monitor. A small crowd had gathered outside. Representatives from multiple species stood in the corridor, apparently drawn by news of the unusual humans. It seems word has spread, Zelmara said dryly. Do you mind if others observe? This is a significant scientific moment. We don't mind, Jiwan said. We came here to build relationships with the coalition. Might as well start now. Velther opened the door. The observation area filled quickly with curious aliens. He recognized several species. A group of insectoid trell clustered together, their antennae twitching. Two tall nephrons stood at the back, their crystalline bodies refracting the light. A reptilian scar named Kreth pushed to the front, his yellow eyes fixed on the humans. Zelmara addressed the crowd. Thank you for your patience. We are conducting standard medical evaluations of the human delegation. As you may have heard, their biology is quite remarkable. Remarkable how? Kreth asked. His voice was rough and skeptical. They consume substances that would be lethal to most of us, Velther explained. Not by accident, deliberately, for nutrition and pleasure. Murmurs spread through the watching aliens. Some seemed intrigued. Others looked doubtful. Perhaps a demonstration would help, Hyunwoo said suddenly. He looked at Jiwan, who nodded permission. I brought emergency rations from Earth. Would you like me to show you what humans consider normal food? Zelmara glanced at Velther, who checked his instruments. If you are comfortable doing so, it would be educational. Hyunwoo produced a sealed package from one of his uniform's cargo pockets. The label showed strange Earth writing and an image of steaming noodles in red broth. These are instant spicy noodles, Hyunwoo explained. A simple meal. We just add hot water. He used the medical bay's water dispenser to prepare the food. As the hot water hit the dried noodles, a smell began to fill the room. Velther's chemical sensors immediately identified multiple irritant compounds. The Trell representatives backed away quickly, their antennae folding flat against their heads. One of the nephrons made a sound like breaking glass. Kreth the Scar hissed and covered his nose with his clawed hand. Is that food or a chemical weapon? Someone called from the crowd. Hyunwoo, completely unbothered by the smell, stirred the noodles cheerfully. It's food. Pretty mild by human standards, actually. I have hotter sauce back on the shuttle. He lifted the container to his mouth and began eating. The watching aliens fell silent. They stared as Hyunwoo consumed something that registered as an industrial irritant on Velther's equipment. When Hyunwoo finished, he smiled at the crowd. Anyone want to try? The silence stretched. Nobody volunteered. I did not think so, Hyunwoo said, still smiling. The observation deck of Medical Station Theta 7 had become more crowded. Word spread quickly through the station network about the humans who ate poison for pleasure. Now at least 20 different species gathered around the medical bay, watching through the transparent walls. Velther monitored Hyunwoo's vital signs after his meal. Everything appeared normal. Heart rate steady. Digestion proceeding without issue. Temperature slightly elevated but within acceptable range. The human showed no distress at all. I don't understand, a Trell observer said, her translator clicking softly. That substance should be destroying his internal tissues. Why is he not in pain? Doyon, who seemed to enjoy explaining things, responded, Humans have pain receptors that respond to capsaicin, the chemical that makes food spicy. But we also produce endorphins in response. They're natural painkillers. So eating spicy food actually feels good to many humans. You feel pain and pleasure at the same time? The Trell's antennae twitched in confusion. Something like that, Doyan agreed. Kreth the Scar pushed forward from the crowd. His yellow eyes were narrowed with suspicion. This seems exaggerated. Perhaps your scanners are miscalibrated, Dr. Velther. Perhaps these humans are not as impressive as they appear. Velther's scales darkened slightly, a sign of irritation. I have checked the equipment multiple times. The readings are accurate. Still, Kreth insisted, I find it hard to believe. Any species can claim tolerance. Proving it is different. Ji-Wan stood up from her examination platform. She moved with easy confidence, approaching Kreth directly. What would convince you? Kreth's reptilian features twisted into something that might have been a smile. Eat something that we know is dangerous. Not your own food. Something from the station supplies? That could be risky, Zelmara said quickly. We have no baseline for human reactions to our foods. Actually, Doyan said, pulling out his portable terminal again, we brought extensive information about human biology. I can check any substance against our known allergens and toxins. If you have something in mind, we can verify if it's safe. Kreth thought for a moment. The station supplies include standard protein bars. They contain concentrated nutrients. Most species can eat perhaps one per day. More than that causes system overload. The vitamins alone would damage organs. Doyan checked his terminal, scrolling through data. What specific compounds are in these protein bars? Velther brought up the nutritional information on the main display. It showed a long list of vitamins, minerals, and protein sources. The concentrations were high, designed to provide complete nutrition in a small package. These look fine, Doyan said after studying the list. Nothing humans can't handle. Some of these vitamin concentrations are lower than our standard supplements, actually. Kreth's eyes widened. Lower? These bars are considered emergency rations? They are not meant for daily consumption. Do you have one we could try? Ji-Wan asked. Velther retrieved a protein bar from the medical bay's supply cabinet. He handed it to Ji-Wan carefully. The bar was dense and dark, about the size of a human palm. It smelled vaguely of processed nutrients and synthetic flavoring. Ji-Wan unwrapped it and took a bite. She chewed thoughtfully. Texture is a bit dry. Flavor is okay. Kind of like the protein bars we have on Earth. She finished the entire bar while the aliens watched. Then she looked at Kreth. Do you have more? I'm still a bit hungry from the trip. A murmur went through the crowd. Kreth looked uncertain for the first time. You want another one? If you don't mind. Velther provided a second bar. Ji-Wan ate that one too. Then a third. By the fourth bar, even Kreth seemed impressed. How do you feel? Zelmara asked, her medical concern overriding her scientific fascination. Fine, Ji-Wan said honestly. These aren't bad for emergency food. I've eaten worse during training exercises. Doyan decided to take the educational moment further. Dr. Velther, would you mind if I explain some human evolutionary biology? It might help everyone understand why we're like this. Please do, Velther said. He was curious himself. Doyan moved to the center of the room where everyone could see him. He projected images from his terminal onto the medical bay's main screen. The first image showed Earth from space, a blue and green world with white clouds swirling across its surface. This is Earth, our home world. It looks peaceful from space, but the surface is quite dangerous. Our planet has extreme temperature variations. The poles freeze solid. The equator gets hot enough to kill most species through heat exposure alone. We have deserts, jungles, mountains, and oceans, each with different challenges. The image changed to show various Earth environments: fierce storms, erupting volcanoes, frozen tundra, dense forests. Humans evolved as omnivores, Doyan continued. That means we eat both plants and animals. We had to, because food availability changed with seasons and location. Our ancestors learned to eat almost anything that wouldn't immediately kill them. Another image appeared showing the human digestive system. Our stomachs produce very strong acid. It's strong enough to digest bone and break down most bacteria. Our intestines are long and complex, designed to extract nutrients from a wide variety of sources. A Nephrin in the crowd spoke, her voice like chiming crystal. But why the tolerance for toxins? That seems excessive. Defense mechanisms, Doyon explained. Many plants on Earth produce toxins to prevent animals from eating them. Capsaicin in peppers, for example. It evolved to discourage mammals from eating the plants. But humans learned that in small amounts, these compounds were not lethal. So we kept eating them. Over thousands of generations, we developed higher tolerance. You adapted to poison, the Nephron said slowly, by eating more poison. Essentially, yes. Humans have extremely active livers and kidneys. These organs filter our blood constantly, removing harmful substances. We also have enzymes that break down many toxins before they can cause damage. Hyun-woo added, it's not just food either. Earth has a lot of natural radiation compared to many worlds. Our atmosphere lets through ultraviolet light that would harm some species. We develop melanin in our skin to protect against it. He gestured to his own darker skin tone. Different humans have different amounts based on where their ancestors lived. The crowd was listening intently now. Even Kreth seemed more interested than skeptical. What about your medicine? Velthor asked. You mentioned compounds that are dangerous to us. Earth plants and fungi produce many chemicals, Doyon said. Humans learned to use these for medicine thousands of years ago. Willow bark contains a compound similar to aspirin. Foxglove produces digitalis, which helps heart conditions. Opium poppies create morphine. We've been using these substances for so long that we understand them well. He pulled up more data on his terminal. Modern human medicine is based on understanding these natural compounds. We isolated the active ingredients, refined them, and learned to produce them synthetically. What you consider dangerous drugs, we consider basic medical care? This is remarkable, Zelmara said. Your species essentially weaponized your own biology for survival. We never thought of it that way, Jiwan said. To us, this is just normal. A small trell pushed forward from the crowd. She was younger than the others, her chitin still bright and smooth. Commander Park, may I ask something? Of course. Are all humans this resilient? Or are you three special? Jiwan smiled. We're pretty average, actually. There are humans who are much tougher. Firefighters who run into burning buildings. Deep-sea divers who handle extreme pressure, mountain climbers who breathe thin air at high altitudes, construction workers who labor in extreme heat. We adapt to what we need to do. Your species sounds like they are made for war, Kreth said. There was no hostility in his voice now, just observation. We've had our share of conflicts, Jiwan admitted. But we prefer peace. That's why we're here. We want to join the coalition, learn from other species, and share what we know. Hyun-woo pulled out another package from his supplies. Speaking of sharing, I have some different food here. These are chocolate bars. They contain theobromine, which I understand is toxic to many species. Would anyone like to see what happens when I eat one? Several aliens backed away quickly. Hyun-woo laughed and opened the package. I'm joking. I won't make you watch me eat chocolate. But it is delicious. He took a bite, and the smell of cocoa filled the medical bay. Velthor's chemical sensors registered the theobromine content. It was high enough to kill a Krithian in minutes. Hyun-woo just smiled and savored the taste. Commander Park, Zelmara said thoughtfully, I believe we should establish a formal research partnership. Your medical knowledge combined with our own could benefit many species. If humans have learned to safely use substances we consider too dangerous, perhaps we have been too conservative in our treatments. We would be happy to share information, Jiwan agreed. As long as it's a mutual exchange. We have a lot to learn from the coalition, too. Agreed, Zelmara said. She looked at the crowd of observers. I believe we have witnessed something historic today. These humans have shown us that our understanding of biological limits may be incomplete. We should celebrate this discovery, not fear it. The young Trell spoke up again. May I request assignment to this research partnership? I would like to learn from the humans. The research partnership began smoothly. For 2 days, Velther and his team worked with the humans, comparing medical techniques and sharing knowledge. Yuan proved to be patient with endless questions. Hyunwoo provided detailed information about human culture and diet. Doyan worked closely with Pelmuth, the young Trell assistant, explaining human cellular biology. Everything changed on the 3rd day. Velther was reviewing data in his office when the alarm sounded. It was not the gentle chime of a medical emergency. This was the harsh, urgent wail of a station-wide crisis. Red lights flashed in the corridors. His communication panel activated automatically. Zelmara's face appeared, tight with stress. We have a major situation. A cargo vessel made an emergency docking in Bay 7. There was a containment failure. Toxic fumes are flooding the entire section. What kind of toxins? Velther was already moving, grabbing his emergency medical kit. Fuel compounds. The analysis shows a mixture of heavy hydrocarbons, sulfur compounds, and various volatile chemicals. Individually, each one is dangerous. Combined, they create an atmosphere that is immediately lethal to most coalition species. Velther felt his chest tighten. Casualties? 12 workers were in that section when the leak started. They triggered the emergency alert, but the doors sealed automatically to prevent the fumes from spreading. They are trapped inside. How long do they have? 30 minutes at most, perhaps less. The fumes will damage their respiratory systems beyond repair. Velther reached the command center. Multiple screens showed the situation. The sealed section glowed red on the station map. Chemical sensors displayed toxic concentrations that made Velther's scales pale. The trapped workers appeared as small vital sign indicators already showing stress. Can we vent the section? Someone asked. No, the station engineer replied. The ventilation system failed when the containment broke. We would need to enter the section to repair it manually. What about environmental suits? We have them, but they take time to prepare, full hazmat protocols. At least 40 minutes to suit up a rescue team properly. The workers do not have 40 minutes, Zelmara said grimly. Velther studied the chemical analysis. His medical knowledge told him exactly what these compounds would do. They would burn lung tissue, destroy cellular membranes, cause system failure. Even with immediate treatment, anyone exposed for more than a few minutes would suffer permanent damage. Behind him, a familiar voice spoke. What are the specific chemicals involved? Velther turned. Doyan stood there, still wearing his casual uniform. Kiwan was with him, and Hyunwoo appeared moments later. The humans must have heard the alarm. This is not your concern, Zelmara said quickly. Return to your quarters. The situation is dangerous. That is why we are asking, Jiwan said calmly. Show us the chemical analysis. Doyan moved to a console and brought up the data. His eyes scanned the information quickly. Velther watched the human's expression shift from concern to calculation. These compounds are similar to industrial pollutants on Earth, Doyan said slowly. We have dealt with situations like this before. Chemical plant accidents, fuel spills, refinery leaks. The concentrations are extremely high, Velther warned. Exposure would be fatal. To most species, yes. But humans have high tolerance for hydrocarbon exposure. We process these compounds through our liver. The sulfur compounds are more concerning, but not immediately lethal in these amounts. Doyan looked at Gawan. I could enter that section. No, Zelmara said firmly. Absolutely not. You are a guest here. We cannot risk your life. 12 people will die if someone does not go in there, Doyan said. I am qualified for this. I have training in hazardous environment rescue. Many humans do. Our emergency services deal with chemical exposures regularly. Jiwan studied the data herself. He is right about human tolerance. These chemicals would be very unpleasant, but not immediately deadly to us. We have maybe 5 to 10 minutes of safe exposure. Longer if we use basic respiratory protection. You cannot be serious, Velther said. We have protocols. Procedures. We cannot ask guests to risk themselves. You are not asking. We are volunteering. Jiwan's voice was firm. She had the tone of someone who had made a decision and would not be argued with. Do you have respirators that would fit us? The station engineer checked his supplies. We have universal fit masks. They will filter particulates and some gases. Not perfect, but better than nothing. Good enough? Jiwan said. Doyan and I will go. Hyunwoo, you stay here and coordinate. We will need you to guide us to the trapped workers. Understood, Hyunwoo said. He was already moving to a communication console. This is madness, Zelmara said, but her protest sounded weak even to herself. The vital signs of the trapped workers were deteriorating. They were running out of time, and everyone knew it. Velther made a decision. I will prepare medical stations here. Bring the workers to the airlock when you extract them. We will be ready to treat them immediately. The next few minutes moved quickly. Jiwan and Doyan suited up in basic protective gear. The respirators covered their mouths and noses, filtering the worst of the toxic fumes. They wore gloves and eye protection. It was minimal protection, nothing like the full hazmat suits that other species would require. The section door will open for exactly 10 seconds, the engineer explained. That limits fumes spread to the rest of the station. Get inside quickly. Understood, Jiwan said. Her voice was calm, professional. Hyunwoo, stay on the comm. Guide us. I have you on sensors. The trapped workers are in 2 groups. 7 in the main cargo area, 5 in the side storage room. The door mechanism failed, trapping them. The section door opened. Toxic fumes billowed out, making the air shimmer with chemical haze. Without hesitation, Jiwan and Doyan ran inside. The door sealed behind them. Velther watched through the internal sensors. The 2 humans moved through an environment that should kill them. The chemical readings in that section were off the scale, yet they kept moving. I see the first group, Jiwan's voice came through the comm. It sounded strained but steady. 7 Crithians, unconscious but alive, starting extraction. Velther watched as Jiwan lifted a full-grown Crithian worker over her shoulder. The worker was larger than her, but she carried the weight. Doyan grabbed another worker, dragging him toward the airlock. This is taking too long, Zelmara said quietly. They will be overcome, but the humans kept working. Trip after trip, they carried the unconscious workers to the airlock. Each time they entered the toxic zone, they were exposed to more fumes. Velther could see the strain on their faces when they returned, but they did not stop. Halfway through the rescue, Jiwan's respirator failed. Velther saw it happen on the sensors. The seal broke, probably damaged by the corrosive atmosphere. Jiwan pulled the useless mask off and tossed it aside. Jiwan, your respirator, Hyunwoo called out. I know. Continuing without it, your exposure time is now critical. 12 minutes left on my estimate. We can finish this. Velther watched in horror as Jiwan kept working without breathing protection. She held her breath during the worst sections, took shallow breaths in less contaminated areas. Her movements became slower, more deliberate, but she did not stop. 5 more workers extracted, then the last 2. All 12 were out. Finally, Jiwan and Doyan stumbled through the airlock themselves. Both were coughing. Their eyes were red and streaming tears. Jiwan's face was flushed and she was breathing hard. Doyan doubled over, coughing violently. Velther rushed forward with his medical team. Get them to the medical bay immediately. The workers first. Jiwan gasped between coughs. We are okay. They need treatment now. Velther wanted to argue, but Jiwan was right. The 12 trapped workers were in critical condition. He and his team worked quickly, administering oxygen, respiratory treatments, and cellular repair therapy. The humans sat against a wall, still coughing. Pelmoth brought them water and oxygen masks. They accepted both gratefully. That was incredibly stupid, Zelmara said, but there was no anger in her voice. Only amazement. You could have died, but we did not, Doyan said. His voice was hoarse from coughing. And neither did they. It took 3 hours to stabilize all 12 workers. Velther monitored each one carefully. 2 were critical but would survive. The others had significant damage but would recover fully with treatment. All because 2 humans ran into an environment that should have killed them. When the immediate crisis passed, Velther finally examined Jawan and Doyan properly. Both had chemical burns in their throats and lungs. Their eyes showed damage from the fumes. They would be coughing for days, maybe weeks. You were exposed. Without protection for 6 minutes, Velther said as he treated Jawan's respiratory inflammation. Any other species would be dead. How are you even conscious? Hurts like hell, Jawan admitted, but I have had worse. There was a training accident during my firefighter certification. Spent 6 hours doing emergency repairs on a damaged ship with a coolant leak. This was shorter at least. Velther's hands trembled slightly as he worked. You have done this before. Exposed yourself to toxins deliberately, not deliberately, but emergency situations happen. You do what needs to be done. One of the rescued workers, a young Krithian named Rindle, regained consciousness while Velther was working. 3 days after the rescue, Medical Station Theta 7 held a formal ceremony. The main assembly hall was filled with representatives from across the coalition. Velther stood near the back, watching as species from dozens of worlds gathered to honor 2 humans who had risked everything for strangers. Jiwan and Doyan stood at the center of the hall. Both still showed signs of their exposure to the toxic fumes. Their voices were slightly hoarse. Doyan occasionally coughed softly. But they stood tall and proud in their formal uniforms as the coalition administrator presented them with medals of valor. Commander Jiwan Park and Medical Liaison Doyan Lee demonstrated courage beyond measure, the administrator said. Her voice echoed through the hall. They entered an environment that would have killed any of us without hesitation, knowing the personal cost. They saved 12 lives that day. The coalition is honored to welcome humanity as our newest member species. The hall erupted in sounds of approval. Different species expressed appreciation in different ways. The Krithians hummed deep in their chests. The Trell clicked their mandibles rhythmically. The Nephrins chimed like crystal bells. It created a strange harmony that somehow felt perfect. Among the crowd, Velther noticed Rindle, one of the workers Jiwan had carried from the toxic section. She had tears on her face. Next to her stood Pelmuth, the young Trell medical assistant who had volunteered to work with the humans. Both looked at Jiwan with expressions of deep respect. After the ceremony, the real celebration began. The station's common area had been transformed into a gathering space. Tables held food from multiple worlds, carefully labeled with warnings about which species could safely consume each dish. Velther found himself standing with Zelmara, observing the interactions. Humans moved among the other species with easy confidence, asking questions, sharing stories, and carefully trying foods that would not poison them. The research partnership you proposed has been approved, Zelmara said. Full funding and resources? The Coalition Science Division wants to understand human medicine as quickly as possible. That is good news, Velther said. Doyan has already shared some remarkable information. Human antibiotics alone could revolutionize our treatment of bacterial infections. And we can offer them our cellular regeneration techniques. It seems humans heal slowly by comparison to some species. They might benefit from our methods? Velther watched as Hinwu demonstrated something on his portable terminal to a group of fascinated aliens. They are very open with their knowledge. No hesitation, no secrets. They genuinely want to help. Perhaps that is their greatest strength, Zelmara observed. Not their physical resilience, but their willingness to share it for others' benefit. Across the room, Jiwan was talking with Kreth, the skeptical Scar who had doubted the humans during their first demonstration. Whatever she said made Kreth laugh, a rasping sound that showed genuine amusement. The two raised glasses in a toast. What is he drinking? Velther asked, noting the concerned look on Zelmara's face. I believe the humans brought something called soju from their ship. It is an alcoholic beverage from their homeworld. Kreth requested to try it. Is that safe? The humans diluted it significantly. Even so, Kreth will likely need medical attention within the hour. But he insisted. He said if humans can consume poisons for pleasure, he should be brave enough to try once. Velther made a mental note to keep his medical kit nearby. Pelmuth approached, looking excited. Her chitin had a healthy shine, and her antennae were vibrating with enthusiasm. Dr. Velther? I have been reviewing the human medical text that Doyon provided. Their approach to pain management is fascinating. They have dozens of compounds we have never considered using. Because most of them are toxic to us, Velther reminded her gently. But perhaps in different doses or modified versions we could develop similar treatments. Doyon thinks it is possible. He has offered to help me research it. That would be valuable work, Velther said. He was pleased to see Pelmuth so engaged. The young assistant had been struggling to find her specialty. This partnership might be exactly what she needed. A chime sounded, drawing attention to the center of the room. Hyunwoo stood there, holding what appeared to be several containers of food. Can I have everyone's attention? The humans would like to share something with all of you. We brought food from Earth, prepared carefully to be safe for most species. Interest rippled through the crowd. After watching Hyunwoo eat his spicy noodles days ago, everyone was curious about human cuisine. We have several dishes, Hyunwoo continued. This is bulgogi, which is seasoned meat. Very mild spices. This is rice, which is a basic grain. This is a vegetable dish called japshi. And these are small dumplings called mandu. We removed any ingredients that our scans showed would be dangerous to other species. Tables were set up quickly. The alien guests approached cautiously, taking small portions. Velther watched their reactions with interest. Most seemed pleasantly surprised. The bulgogi proved particularly popular with the carnivorous species. The rice was bland enough that almost everyone could eat it. Doyon stood next to Velther, watching the scene with satisfaction. This is good. Sharing food is important in human culture. It builds relationships. We have similar traditions, Velther said. Though our foods are usually less adventurous than yours? Doyon smiled. We brought the mild versions. The really interesting human food would probably hospitalize half your station. I believe you, Velther said dryly. As the evening continued, Velther found himself in conversation with various guests. Everyone wanted to talk about the humans. Some were concerned about what humanity's addition to the coalition would mean. Others were excited about the possibilities. A few were simply curious about these strange beings who drank poison and walked through toxic clouds. Rindal approached Velther shyly. The young Krithian had fully recovered from her exposure, though she still moved carefully. Dr. Velther? May I speak with you? Of course, Rendell. How are you feeling? Much better, thank you. I wanted to ask. I know there is a research partnership being formed with the humans. Would there be a place for me? I would like to work with them. I feel like I owe them something. You owe them nothing, Velther said firmly. They did what they thought was right. They would not want you to feel obligated. It is not obligation, Rindal said. It is admiration. They were so brave, so strong. I want to understand them better. Maybe even become friends with them. Velther glanced across the room to where Jiwan was demonstrating something to a group of Nephrons. The humans had integrated into the gathering seamlessly, as if they had been part of the coalition for years rather than days. I think they would like that, Velther said. And yes, there will be positions available in the research program. I will recommend you. Thank you, Dr. Velther. Rindal's scales brightened with happiness. Later in the evening, Velther found himself sitting with the three humans in a quieter corner of the common area. They had plates of various foods, mixing human and alien dishes with careful attention to what was safe to eat. This has been quite a week, Jiwan said. She took a sip of something that looked like water but probably was not. We came here for a simple medical evaluation and ended up rescuing workers and starting a research partnership. You exceeded all expectations, Velther said. The coalition has never seen anything like humanity. You challenge our assumptions about what is possible. We are not trying to challenge anything, Doyon said. We are just being ourselves. That is what makes it remarkable, Velther said. You do not see your own uniqueness because to you everything is normal. But to us you are extraordinary. Hyunwoo laughed. Wait until the coalition meets more humans. We three are pretty average. There are people on Earth who are much more impressive. That is a terrifying thought, Velther said, but he was smiling. We do have a question, though, Juwan said, her tone becoming more serious. What happens now? We were sent as envoys, but it seems like our role has expanded. Velther had discussed this with Zelmara earlier. The coalition would like to offer you permanent positions. Giwan as human liaison and emergency response consultant, Doyan as head of the xenobiology research program, Hyunwoo as cultural ambassador and diplomatic coordinator. Earth has been accepted as a member world. We will need humans here to help bridge the gap between our species. The three humans exchanged glances, some silent communication passing between them. We would need to discuss this with Earth government, Juwan said finally. But personally, I'm interested. This work is important. I definitely want to stay, Doyan said immediately. The research possibilities are incredible. Working with Dr. Velther and Pelmuth, understanding alien biology, developing new treatments. This is everything I became a doctor for. And I cannot imagine a better job than introducing alien species to Korean barbecue, Hyunwoo said with a grin. Count me in. Velther felt relief. He had grown fond of these strange, resilient humans. The thought of them leaving had been disappointing. There's one more thing, Zelmara said, appearing beside their table. Your rescue has become quite famous. The story has spread through coalition space. We are receiving requests from multiple medical facilities.